My next guests met as actors. They performed together and were cast opposite each other in Sugar Babies, and it all led to opposite roles in real life as husband and wife. They act, they sing, they dance. They've been on Broadway and off-Broadway, touring in productions, including Monty Python's Spamalot. Their roles expanded as parents. Their love for the theater is only surpassed by their love for each other and their family. It's a pleasure to welcome Lyn Philistine and Christopher Sutton to The Counter.
Hello, hello.
Thank you, Grover. What a great intro.
Thank you.
Well, I did some research there.
Yes, well, it's always enjoyable to sort of open the book and travel with the guests and see where they've been. It's a privilege, really.
Well, it's an honor to be here. Thanks for having us. We really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
So you actually did meet. It was Sugar Babies. I got that right. Is that correct?
Yeah, that was the first. That's when we kind of started falling in love. We actually met before that. I was playing Buddy Holly in the Buddy Holly story.
Oh,
I had played Buddy Holly at Walnut Street Theatre in Philly back in '99, I believe. And this was the second time I was ever doing it. We were rehearsing in New York City to do a multi-theater tour. But that's when we first met, actually.
Right.
And then it was kind of, oh, hey. And then when we did Sugar Babies, I think it was 8 months later or something. And I remember getting cast in that show, and I looked at the cast list and went, that's that girl. And it ended up that we played the secondary leads. I played the juvenile, the production tenor, and she played the soubrette, right?
Soubrette.
Yeah, and then we were covering the two lead roles, the Mickey Rooney and Ann Miller roles. And so because we were understudies for the main leads, we were in rehearsals, together, the two of us, and there you go.
Slowly built and friends, and then we
We've known each other for what, about 20 years now.
Wow.
Yeah, and we've done over 20 shows together, so it's roughly one a year.
Yeah, and a few with our son. We have a 7.5-year-old, so he's now doing shows with us too. So.
Oh my goodness, how about that? It's going to be a whole family business.
Yes.
Well, I got to show you this, Grover. We got this out, so we were actually showing some of your previous guests, but if you can see this.
Is this a production of Elf?
Yes, and that is Dylan at 3.5 months old.
Oh my!
I was playing the big elf. He was the baby elf, and that was he was 3.5 months old opening night, and then we did Matilda together. He had just turned 5. We feel like Philly's been a second home because we've been working down at Walnut. I've been there.
Great
as a
place.
New Yorker. I've lived in New York for 30 years, but for the last 22, worked at Walnut quite a bit in Philly.
Yeah.
And so I think we spent 3 to 4 years of our lives actually in Philly, right downtown.
Yeah, we love the Walnut Street. It's a great theater.
Yeah, I think it's the oldest theater in America, actually.
It sure is.
Yeah.
That's right.
History.
Right. So where are you both from? Different locations, I take it, born and raised?
I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania girl.
Yeah.
And I went to Cincinnati Conservatory of Music. And when I graduated, I moved to New York. But I had been, performing since I was 8 years old. I got my equity card with Annie, a tour of Annie starring Martha Raye. So that was kind of how I started. Yeah. And then, and my mom, we kind of figured it out. My sister did it. And then just sort of kept going. I was like, got a great training in Pittsburgh, and then Cincinnati, and it was just natural to move to New York. And I've been here over 20 years, so I love it.
And you, Christopher?
I grew up the oldest of 7, so that gives you a lot of comedy just right there when we're doing
it does.
comedic stuff. Because when you have all those siblings, and you're babysitting, you have to tell stories that will hold the attention of people of a wide. There's 15 years between myself and little Emily Jane, the youngest.
Do you do mostly comedies or musical, comedy musicals, musical comedy?
Everything.
We do both. We've done really serious pieces, straight plays and musicals. We've done comedy. We kind of do both. We do it all, which is wonderful because it fulfills you in different ways, or it does something. Making people laugh, it's a great thing, especially right now. But also taking people to an emotional place is another type of experience for us as actors and also for the audience. I think it's nice. We've been able to do both of those things, which has been really, really nice.
That's what's exciting about it, is because if you can be a chameleon, our favorite actors that we've known over the years and our inspirations are just that. When you see them in a really dastardly, completely terrible person kind of a role, or the villain, if you will. To go back and forth through the human condition, in different ways. And our craft is the study of people.
Yes.
And in general, the study of people that, in the case of Buddy Holly, of course, that's great. You have the histrionics, and you can really dig into the history of Buddy and his family.
Right.
Where he grew up. But then you have characters that we created over the years in new shows that have never walked the face of the earth before, that have their own gait, their own way of speaking, their own manner and dialect. And so that makes you a chameleon already.
Right.
And we're both also trained, both have degrees in opera. So it helps you when you're doing the rock stuff, because you can do 8 or 10 shows a week without losing it.
Right.
It also helps you in Shakespeare, because you have to orate with no mic, So we've always found that as dancers and singers and actors, they feed into each other. And when we did Spamalot, it was such a great time for us. We did that show together for 4 years almost. And the thing about that show, here we have this comedy. It's Monty Python, the Holy Grail.
Right.
But it's serious. It's absolute sincerity in absurd situations. And so I think there's so much drama and gravity in comedy in the same way. And it happens in reverse too. Right. So it's interesting, isn't it? Some of our favorite actors, like Robin Williams, is so funny. He was so funny, but also was in The Fisher King.
Right.
And Awakening.
Yeah.
And movies like that, where it's just the whole entire range of emotions. So.
Right. Well, it's the old.
We get to do it together a lot. Is pretty amazing. We're very thankful for that.
Christopher, you won a Barrymore Award. Is that right?
I did, yeah, for the Buddy Holly story, actually. So I won the award the first time for it, yeah. 12 years later, Bernard Havard, who's a dear friend, had said he wanted to do Buddy Holly again at some point. And I said, I remember saying, well, hurry up. No, but, I mean, because after all, he was 22 when the plane went down.
Yes.
But he'd always wanted to do that again. And I said, yeah, that would be fantastic. And so that was the time I got to do it opposite my wife. Lynn played Maria Elena, and that was a year before Dylan was born. That was 2012. We had people show up at Buddy Holly with their actual album from 1959, and they want you to sign it.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't want to desecrate your...
Right.
I have my own 1959 albums.
Yeah.
But,
it tells you how well you conveyed not only the music, but the persona. Everything you do is about storytelling and making it come to life for folks. And there's nothing better. And I want to thank you for joining us on Counterculture. And,
thank you.
And go back out there when things open up and, entertain those folks. And
oh, absolutely. We've done, 50 or 60 Zooms. I did one last night.
I'm doing one tonight.
Are you? What are you going to be doing?
Tonight, I'm doing friends who wrote, there's a lot of Jersey Boys guys, one I know from when I did Bronx Tale, another one from school, Cincinnati, actually. They wrote it's like a funny Christmas carol, but like an Italian mobster. So I got to be like an Italian, I am Italian. So it's like, what I have to do that thing. But it's a comedy. It's funny.
Right.
And
that's great.
So it's good.
As things open up, good luck, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks
we'll come down to visit from New York. We'll come down and see you, okay?
Terrific. Lyn Philistine and Christopher Sutton. To paraphrase Stephen Sondheim, wherever they go, whatever they do, they're gonna go through it together.